Hello, and welcome to Songs for Our Blue Mother. I'm Lee Hoffman, founding artistic director of All Voices Choral Project, AVCP. We have met on Zoom each week since last March, and when safe enough, we have rehearsed together in person, outside, masked, distanced. Through this past difficult year, we have grown as a community, formed and held together through music and a shared dedication to harmonizing the divide. This event is the culmination of an independent study project and partial fulfillment of my graduate program in choral conducting at Sacramento State University. Therefore, it is important to acknowledge that the California State University Chancellor's Office and every one of the 23 CSU campuses, as well as all satellite campuses, are situated on and were built on native land. We acknowledge the resulting history of erasure, displacement, dispossession, and attempted eradication of all original and tribal peoples from this land. We acknowledge that the first governor of the state of California explicitly called for the extermination of native peoples. And there continue to be 18 unratified treaties with California tribes that the federal and state governments refused to honor. We hold our event on this ancient place of gathering. It is the land of the southern Maidu people to the north, the valley and plains Miwok peoples to the south of the American River, and the Patwin Wintun peoples to the west of the Sacramento River, as the original stewards and traditional caretakers of this land. We thank them for their strength, perseverance, and resistance. We also wish to acknowledge the other indigenous peoples who now call Sacramento their home, for their shared struggle to maintain their cultures, languages, worldview, and identities in this diverse region. This virtual concert of restitution and restoration focuses on water and the interconnectedness of all things, planet and individual, peace and turmoil, history and now. Mother Earth cannot continue to provide for us as long as we seek ownership. Instead, we must listen. We must listen to the wisdom of those who live in relationship with the earth and all living beings. We invite you to go with the flow of the program and to tune in more deeply than ever before to your sense of connection to life within and beyond yourself. Songs for Our Blue Mother.
must have water to give, not to deny each other, to bring from source to mouth, just like the food of love from a nursing mother. Sweet as an angel's kiss, salt as her falling tears, droplets in patience wearing away the mountain of time for billions of years. Shape of a cloud evolving in the gleam when your skin perspires, in the curse of a lost and foundering ship, in the silent face Narcissus admires. Water to kill, for in a global battle to chill, well in a plastic bottle, to find between air and earth, both cold and wet, says Aristotle. Water, mild as a mermaid's song, wild when the oceans roar, never been born and never been buried, infinite waves caressing the shore.
Everything around us, it's all tied into this one beautiful place. And it just inspires us to take care of this place. And that ties into our values as Indigenous people. If you take care of yourself and make sure yourself is healthy enough to take care of your family and make sure they're taking care of themselves, then it should inspire everybody to take care of the land that we all need. It all starts with being able to catch that fish and bring it home to your family. I love being down here. I love seeing our family fish. I love seeing them drift. But how much longer do we have? Back in the day, you did this all year round. You caught fish in the spring, there was fish in the fall, and there was fish in the summer. But nowadays, it's only this one time a year where we get a really good fish run. And it's really sad because this fish run is so small, there's not going to be enough fish pulled out of this river to give every tribal member one fish. So we do the best that we can to make sure that we share the fish that we do get with people who might not get the ability to come down here and catch it themselves. My grandpa thought he'd never see the day where he'd catch less than 50 fish when he went fishing. Now we come out here with 3 teams and we're lucky to catch 7 fish. But reality of it is that our people need to be fed. You know, these salmon are so important to everything that we've come to understand as Yurok people that without these salmon, our way of life is impossible.
Being a Yurok person, the river is our lifeblood. It's just as important as the air we breathe. The Klamath Basin is really big. It stretches from southern Oregon down into northern California, then goes out into the Pacific Ocean. It's really diverse as far as the physical aspects of it and also the biological aspects of it. Historically, this was the third largest salmon-producing river on the West Coast. There's been significant declines in all anadromous fisheries to a point where some fish have been extirpated from this river system. There's probably a number of reasons why things have changed so drastically, but one of the main reasons is those dams that were put in and basically cut the watershed in half and took away 400 miles of anadromous spawning habitat.
These dams have such a big effect on our lives, and when you're younger, it feels like people are talking about like a monster or something at the head of the river.
They're not used for irrigation. They make a small percentage of what Pacific Power and Berkshire Energy's profit is.
Where rivers should be naturally fluctuating up and down, these dams are regulating the water flow towards one kind of stagnant flow. So it allows algae all along the bottom of the river to pop up and grow and just flourish.
At times, the Klamath River and the reservoirs behind the Klamath dams can be thousands of times higher than the threshold that is recommended for humans to be in. So the water is toxic, extremely toxic. And then that water is in turn released down the Klamath River.
The state of California says that you're not supposed to drink it, you're not supposed to swim in it. If you let your animals drink it, they possibly die. You come out with sores.
It's just become a part of our norm, which it shouldn't be. And it's sad to see. It's disgusting.
For like the next generations to come, my kids or my kids' kids, to be able to swim and fish and not worry.
Another very serious impact that we believe dams are responsible for is some fish disease issues that we have in the river. One fish disease in particular that we're really concerned about is called Ceratinova shasta. We call it sea shasta. It's deadly to juveniles. 90% of the fish sampled have this disease. Another disease aspect that is exacerbated by dams is a fish disease that we study here in the lower river called ick. It's a parasite that attacks fish gills. Dams warm the water unnaturally, and so warm water can lead to delays in migration here on the lower river, and we can get congregations of fish, and congregations lead to stressed out adult Chinook salmon, and stressed fish are susceptible to diseases. Ick is responsible for the 2002 Klamath River fish kill, where we lost over 60,000 adult Chinook salmon as they were returning upstream here. It was the largest salmon die-off in United States history happened right here on the Klamath River.
It was the saddest part of my life. So we believe the fishes are relative. So we're here to take care of them like they take care of us.
Every year there's this fear that builds up in us, right? That we're gonna see those fish, floating down the river dead and stinky again. And that hurts so much.
That's basically what started Klamath Justice Coalition and us getting together to start this campaign to undam the Klamath.
We've worked really hard for a long time on this, and man, it feels like we're just right there at the finish line to get these dams taken out.
We've dedicated years of our lives, our young lives, to give opportunity for the next generation to live on a healthy, dam-free river.
Unfortunately, we've had to raise our children in this way to have to fight for what we live for what we believe in.
Not because we want to, it's because we have to, right? It's an obligation for us. Take care of this place and take care of us.
In Yurok, we call it Nepui. So this has been one of the main staples for the Yaqui people for our traditional diet for over thousands of years. So I'll come through and I'll defend and I'll pass it over to the master flayer.
Women are very important in our culture. We build our people up. By 11, I was making my own gear and able to go out and pretty much feed myself, feed my family.
My great-grandparents, they did a fish war here, fought the American government just for our fishing rights. And they actually had people with riot gear beating us natives down here just for set nets. Every time you'd set net, guaranteed they'd come through and try to pull it. And us locals had to fight them off. I'm glad they did, because we wouldn't be able to take you guys out and show you our way of life today.
It's something that affects us every day because I can't just go to the grocery store and buy some salmon. I grew up with a gas station, like eating at a 7-Eleven every day. I don't think very many people could live like that.
What we know is that the river is no longer providing for us like it should be. So it can no longer provide subsistence of salmon for every family. So we have to find these different ways to provide for our people. And we want people to stand up. We want people to fight for their rights. We want people to be there. But in reality, if you don't have enough food for your family at home, how are you going to be able to go out and stand up for your rights halfway across the country or go to these protests? And how are you supposed to dedicate large portions of your time if you're worried about not having healthy food access in your home? You can't. And so it's a part of the system that's been constantly pressing our people to the point of normalization.
If someone told us that we would be growing vegetables this time last year, or told me that this is what I would be doing or we would be doing as like a unit, I would have told them they're crazy. The education of it or the resource for the education wasn't there. And we're just trying to show people that how easy it is to actually grow their own food.
Growing your food like this and growing your garden like this is like unheard of. And for us as fishermen to be out here making these types of moves, to find out what people like, to find out what people need, it's really kind of cutting edge for our community because it hasn't really been tried, hasn't really been done before.
We stopped by a house today and they said they don't like cabbage. So they're getting specific on us. And that's good.
We stopped by someone's house today. What did they say? They said that the broccoli was so fresh, they cooked it 4 days, 5 days after we gave it to them, and it looked like they just pulled it out of the ground. A lot of people told us we couldn't do it. We weren't going to be able to get a garden in. We walked away from those people, and we found the people who believed in us, and they said, you know what, if we work really hard and we push forward, you guys will be feeding people by the end of the year. And it's happening.
Cabbage, here, Baba. Got the help? Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hey, love you guys.
These are hard-working families. They take care of their kids and other people in their community. We're teaching families how to take care of yourself. Over hundreds of generations, our families have developed a resiliency that can't be beat, that can't be destroyed. And no matter what happens, no matter what you take away, we're always going to provide for our people. We're always going to find a way to take care of our children. We're always going to find a way to move forward.
This river is our umbilical cord, what feeds us and what nurtures us. This reciprocal relationship that we have with it. I would do anything for this river, just like I would my own children. Like, I would die for it. I would do anything before I would give up on it.
There was a generation before me who dedicated their whole lives just to make sure that these dams were removed.
We must never forget that these salmon are more than just creatures of the water. They are people just like me and you. They wouldn't give up on us. We shouldn't give up on them. Right.
They have the chance to make the world right here. Do the right thing. Take the dams down.
We're not going to give up this fight to get these dams out of this river. Like, if this doesn't work, if this current iteration of dam removal doesn't work, we'll move on to the next.
I imagine a world where we live in harmony with the river, and I see that. I see that possibility.
So every aspect of my life has been built around this river, whether it be teaching the next generation these skills of organizing, or whether it be providing food for my family.
Nothing says Northern California like cooking on a redwood skewer, an open flame.
Sammy and these young folks, they're really outspoken, and it makes me feel good that we've taught them how to do that.
They're all coming to that age, and they all know they got to stand up. It's their time.
You guys are doing the ancestral guard, the food sovereignty. Like, that's a slap in the face of all these systems. I think that's the way it has to be.
We have to be willing to put effort into things. Our survival depends on how we re-indigenize and live like we're meant to live again.
After these dams are removed, all that power is going to be put directly into building these healthy opportunities for our people.
Doom, 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 Another vessel sheds the chrome of its silver mile until a mile meanders into three, triples again over the reef, the chrome of its nothing can wait until underwater meanders into three, nor register light on dark membranes, sink and oversight under oil. We were the first cracking the whole of the earth. Open and only were our first cracking the whole of the earth. All metallurgy were the first that breathed with first to open. We can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But on a ship in space, manned by none, thinking from non-feeling, we say absolutely nothing at all.
I'm the Reverend Alicia Roxanne Forde. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, and I currently reside on the stolen and occupied lands of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. Earthrise. Tranquil blue waters surrounding undulating green-brown land masses. Light layers of wispy clouds sailing just above the planet. Everything about the image. Sacred connection, interdependence, peace. Absorbing it, that still photograph of the earth taken from the moon, imagining the softness of breath rising in and through the life on this planet is poignant. There is no hint of loneliness, There's no hint of sadness, of loss, violence, grief. A meditation on this oblate spheroid as it appears from the moon, capped at each pole with curtains of snow and ice, offers a sense of oneness, a holy place, a temple, a gentle swirling mass of creative potential, rotating with promise. We move with it, pulsating beings proclaiming our will to survive, to thrive. Viewing Earth, viewing us from a distance we fade. It's almost impossible to tell we're here. It's impossible to see us individually. It's impossible to capture us, label us, stamp upon us those markers, sex, race, income that declare us as different from some socially constructed norm. From a distance, it would seem that we are one body and we have a collective impact on this blue-green, miraculously alive marble as it moves through space and time. From a distance, one might ask, do we matter? Do our actions? And up close, you'll find that we do. Our actions do. Up close, you might revel in God's infinite and creative imagination that unfolded our spacious skies or majestic mountains that press us into believing in wild things, in grace, in beauty. And yet, all is not as serene or tranquil as it seems. There are earthly wounds we've inflicted. Up close, there is a world, our small United States world, in search of healing, atonement, repair. Maybe you've heard this poem, this rhyme that begins, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. This poem, this rhyme was woven into the fabric of my childhood, a yarn of an explorer who, with his 3 ships, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, and happy crew, set forth with pride to discover the new world. Hailed as he was, as brave and as bright, he encountered kindness and traded food and spice. What a grotesque and distorted fantasy. Maybe you learned it in school, as I did. Maybe you'd be surprised to know that some children today still learn it in school as history, as truth, a history that renders invisible the violence of an explorer and the empire in whose name he traveled, an empire that in 1493 declared and established in the name of the made in their image God, via papal decree, that European explorers had the right to claim this land, Turtle Island, had the right to treat as subhuman any peoples already inhabiting this land, to stake flags and spread virulent ideologies, all to fund their lust for power and domination. And so it began, or maybe this is but one way in which it began, this original sin of white supremacy, the beast, the insatiable monster that promoted stealing and enslaving bodies to benefit the powerful, increased the wealth of empires who sent mercenaries into well-established and settled lands to colonize, Christianize, demolish, and dehumanize. They came and they looted resources, a verdant green earth that breathes, home to wandering waters that supported an abundance of life. They came and they looted bodies, enriching their own coffers, planting their flags of supremacy on our black, brown, and indigenous bodies, with political and religious decrees that declared we have no right to be, making it the case that to be black, to be brown, to be indigenous is to exist in a state of constant precarity. Fearing that one's life and livelihood, which exist in concert with the earth, the waters, the land, the sky, can be, will be, historically has been, looted for capitalist gain and imperialist quests that dismiss the sovereignty of this blue-green sentient being. When will we remember that, as Chief Seattle wrote, all things are connected? All living things share the same breath. The air shares its spirit with all life. The very land that cradles your being. Yes, this land, Turtle Island, where you have anchored your home. This land that now holds you, holds your family, your children, your dreams, your heart. This land has memory, history, story. It is alive. It breathes with you through the trees, grasses, water. Can you feel it? It longs with you. It is connected to histories that precede us. It holds stories that shape our present. It weaves those histories and those stories into our futures, and we have a responsibility to ensure those woven stories are truthful. We have a responsibility to be honest, even when those truths are painful, even when they break our hearts. The condition of reconciliation requires restitution and restoration with this earth, with its Black, Brown, and Indigenous people. And this is only possible when we are able to name that original sin. In 1492, Columbus sailed, and the decrees that followed unleashed imperialist violence for which there must be repair. All things are connected, woven together in the fabric of existence. All living things share the same breath. The air shares its spirit with all life, and all life shares breath with us. Come then, weave. Join your breath to water, to earth, to trees, to grasses, to sky, to Black, Brown, and Indigenous liberation struggles, to repair and restitution. Make real the vision of Earthrise, the blue-green earth as tranquil and holy, a temple interdependent, a gentle swirling mass of creative potential rotating with promise. An earth which cannot be claimed and belongs to no one, autonomous, wild, and free.
Measure me, sky.
The wisdom of the great Chief Seattle reminds us, all things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth, befalls the children of the earth.
All things share the same breath. The beast, the tree, the man, the air shares its spirit with all the life it supports.
We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. This we know.
All things are connected. All living things share the same breath. All things are connected. The air shares its spirit with all life. All things are connected, just like the blood which unites us all. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth.
Treat the earth well. It was not given to you by your parents. It was loaned to you by your children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children.
The beauty of the tree, let it speak to you. The fragrance of a flower and the freshness of the grass. The music of the sea, let it speak to you. Through hills and mountains, thundering skies, and the rhythm of life. All things are connected, just like the blood which unites us all. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth. All things are connected. All things are connected. All things are connected. All things.
Only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will we find money cannot be eaten.
All things are connected.
Hi, my name is Yvette Couvson, and today I will be sharing with you a important piece of artwork that I created, which I feel represents the essence of this amazing project. I painted this last year during a time in my life when I was going through a very spiritual and personal transition on top of everything our nation and world as a whole was and still is working through. I decided to name the painting Choice or Choices because it was giving me a couple of different vibes. I was really indecisive on what I was going to name it because it was giving me two ideas. The first one represented the wave coming towards my Besa Saka. Now, Besa Saka is a Ghanaian symbol that represents affluence, abundance, and unity. Now, the different colors inside of the wave represent all of my emotions and my thoughts, and they're headed towards my Besa Saka, right? The second idea that I got from this, which is the reason why I feel like this painting resonates so well with this project, is because the wave represents all of the combined forces that are causing our planet's destruction, which is leading to the destruction of our abundance, our affluence, and our unity. The colors inside of the wave represent greed for the gold, blue for complacency. The red at the bottom represents the people that are warning us, the rest of us. And you can see that they're at the forefront, they're at the head of the wave because they know what's coming. If you look right above the symbol of the base of Saka, you can see a fading doorway, which translates to me that we have a choice, but the clock is ticking. And there's always another path. I think it's imperative for us all to continue on the pathway of assisting our planet in healing so that our children can receive the same privileges, the same gifts that it has given us during our very brief time on this earth. Thank you for listening. Take care.
We are made of water.
We are made of music.
We are made of water.
We are made of music.
We are made of water. your name is glad. But the sky is shed, the tears of life, the sun is spread the war. The heavens keep their vigil night and day. Light, New Year, light, New Year, light, I will tread lightly, light, New Year, light, New Year, light, I will tread lightly, light, New Year, light, New Year, light, so I may leave a garden fit to grow. I may know home along its land, for it's a world earth with days, and though it's far away, I hope one day my footprint leaves no trace. Let me and I will learn to tiptoe as I go, so I may leave a garden fit to grow. I will tread lightly, 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 lightly. 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 I will tread lightly. The blue, the red, the white, the black, the brown, and all the colors in between. Women and men, and everyone who breathes can sing along with me. We dream of a land, a world big enough to be united in song, to fight for justice and peace. Your God, my God, our right to believe or not, we all eat from an earth that's free. All bodies, all minds, the young and elderly, we all